What's going on, everybody? My name's Haas. I'm here with another video. Before I get started with the video, go ahead and give me a like on the video. Give me a comment down below. What are you most excited for about the Flare token airdrop? You know, obviously we talk a lot about XRP here. We're not just focused on XRP, but that airdrop is right around the corner. It's here. Well, I guess the snapshot is right around the corner. The distribution, which I'm also very happy about, is going to be a little bit delayed, but you know, no big deal. We got to wait for the actual project to launch. Well, I shouldn't say delayed. It is as planned, but we have to wait for the project to launch, and then they're delaying how we receive our Spark to not have any like pump and dump situations. So some prominent technical analysis, and I get it. I totally understand it when you're looking at a token based on charts and not based on the use case. But we have Blockchain Backer, which is an amazing channel. I recommend anyone. Well, I think it's just a requirement, and like being in the XRP community, that you follow his Twitter and you subscribe to his YouTube. I'm just saying, like I think everyone is. He gives amazing knowledge and insight about XRP and about how it moves. But recently he's shown some distrust for Flare, which I understand where he's coming from, because he's coming from back in the 2017 ICO craze and everything else. There was a lot of pump and dumps and a lot of scams. But I do think what Flare is doing is important. And I think, you know, we can trust Flare a little bit because of the backing of Ripple. Ripple obviously is funding Flare. And if you look into and watch some interviews with Hugo, the developer of Flare, I think we're in good hands in terms of like the Flare project team. I think we're going to be very taken care of in terms of reducing or minimizing the pump and dumps. And even if it does dump, guys, and again, going back to Blockchain Backer's video, I know he said that that, you know, giving away free tokens is just a way to like get a loyal base, and I guess there's no loyaler base than XRP holders. But the reality is it's more like XRP holders are just being rewarded with this enhancement token that provides more utility on the XRP ledger, which is the whole point, right? We don't want to just be stagnant. Like, why would we just want one product and then that's it, right? If you're a business and you just make one product and it moonshots, it does really well, do you just stay stagnant? Do you just not do anything anymore? No, of course not. You make another product. So it's not similar to that as like Ripple's not making it, but the fact that the XRP code base is open source, somebody else builds on top of the XRP ledger. Obviously, it's more of a startup funded by Ripple. We understand that, and we're being transparent about it. But the reality is the use case that it brings, the smart contracts that it brings to XRP, really puts it in a place that it could overtake the DeFi era, right? The whole DeFi space that we saw Ethereum just blow past, it could take it over, because if we see low fees and quick settlements, I don't know an Ethereum DEX that can compete with a fraction of a cent fees and 4 to 6 second settlement times. Yeah, find me one, please, because I can't find it. Gas fees alone, and then gas time, transfer time alone. So obviously, again, crypto market is trading sideways, so no big deal there. In terms of So do I think where Blockchain Backer is coming from about Flare, do I think that like it's a good place? I think it's just misinformation. I think he doesn't know enough about the product and the project and what they're trying to solve. And he's more looking at it as the like where he should, like the technical analysis side. That's the side that he's really good at. So I don't expect him to get everything right. And you know, he's definitely usually on point. But you know, just some things we will disagree on, and I hope that he looks into it a little bit more and then understands the value of having the project, because I think it's a big deal. But yeah, go ahead and give me a comment. What do you think? Are you excited about Flare? And obviously subscribe to the video and give me a like and all that fun stuff. So today in crypto, we're trading pretty sideways. So $577 billion. Nothing big. No grand movements. We saw XRP over the weekend, go down and then go back up, and it was really exciting for a moment. And whatever. It's just a nice little buying opportunity there. So nothing really crazy happening in like the prices. I'm going to go over a couple of articles here. Well, actually, one article and then show you another exchange. But I'm just kind of hinting at this is where we're going, right? So I've discussed this before, that essentially we will one day tokenize the world, right? We'll tokenize big assets. Imagine if you're somebody with a little bit of capital. Let's say you have $50,000, hypothetically, right? Now, you really want to get into rental properties, but one, you don't want to take out a mortgage, and you don't want to have to deal with dealing with a tenant, getting a tenant in there. There's a lot that goes around to it. So what if we tokenized, say, a giant rental unit, right, and cut it up into like 250 different tokens or whatever, and then sold the tokens, right, as essentially the asset. I believe that is where we're going. I know that sounds complicated and convoluted, but yeah, we will eventually tokenize investment assets from real estate to this article. So Amazon, Apple, Tesla have already been tokenized by Bittrex, which is a big exchange. Nothing to say about Bittrex. Obviously, if you're getting put on there, you have a lot of exposure and a lot of trading volume. I think a lot of people are going to see this as a overall positive. I think this is where stocks are going. Especially in Canada. So in Canada, we have a little bit of an issue where it's very rare that we can find a brokerage that does fractional shares. Now, they are out there, so I'm not saying that they don't exist. But U.S. customers have like Robinhood, right? Which is just a godsend to any mobile user. But it has its downside, so I'm not trying to like prop up Robinhood here. But I am saying, like, comparative to like what we have, Questrade and Wealthsimple, consider your guys lucky, all right? We can't even do fractional trading, so just saying. But with tokenizing major stocks like these, Apple, Tesla, Amazon, yeah, I think this is the way to go. This is where we're eventually going to be going. It's just tokenizing the world. Now, the exchange that I use is FTX, which is actually, I believe FTX owns Blockfolio, or Blockfolio owns FTX. I feel like it's FTX owns Blockfolio. But they have similar thing, other digital assets. So they go from Tesla, then Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Facebook, Google, SPY. So obviously you can get the S&P 500 here. The whole thing is, keep in mind, and like they had bets on the presidential election. I'm not sure like how all that works, but anyway, the whole point here is, FANG is some really good stuff in terms of keeping that in your portfolio. You should never have like all of your allocation into risky assets. You should always keep an allocation into something that's a little bit more stable, right? But in this current time, so I want to quickly just talk about some issues. So I have some problems with the U.S. dollar. Now the U.S. dollar is about $1.28 Canadian. So if one American dollar is worth $1.28 in Canadian dollars, and that's actually gone down 3 cents in the past like week and a half, 2 weeks. And like I know because I do the exchange all the time to like find out like how much something's worth in Canadian. I have to times all the time, so I have to like constantly look up the exchange rate, because over the last little while, then I made this screw up by trying to do payments on like an exchange rate that I remembered, and it stayed stable for weeks, and then like one day it just wasn't working, and I was like, oh, this is weird, and then look at the exchange rate and it's down 2 cents, right? And then it just starts like going down quicker and quicker. I definitely feel that the dollar is like in a bad place. So CNN writes an article. Now, I don't agree with CNN. I'm just using their article as like a footnote, all right? So they say, one, the faith in the global recovery. This essentially is saying that when the markets are doing well, commodities are doing well, stocks and securities, then the dollar tends to weaken, right? Because more people are holding commodities and getting out of the dollar. And then gold and everything else, right? Understandably so, that makes sense. So when everyone's thinking, okay, we're coming to the end of this coronavirus thing, then stocks are doing better. So we have all-time highs again and everything. Like the Dow Jones is above 30K right now. It's good times all around for commodities and a little bit bad for the dollar, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything wrong with the dollar. Which is why I don't like this statement at all, because like, yeah, that makes logical sense, but it also isn't. Like, if U.S. businesses are doing well, the dollar's probably doing equally as well, just saying. But the reality is, this isn't the reality. Our vaccine is not right around the corner. We're not like in like the best part. We have like the peak of COVID during the Christmas time, the time that is supposed to be like the best spending time ever. Like, this is where profits are supposed to soar. Sure, spending is happening, but nobody has the money to spend a significant amount on an extravagant Christmas. Well, okay, some people do, but normal people, regular people, probably don't, right? Real people that have lost their jobs over this economic crisis. And I say economic crisis because that's what it is. Whether there's a health crisis on top of it is regardless. This is, make no mistake, this is an economic crisis. So when you see people lose their job and not being able to pay for anything, we're going to see massive earning drops this Christmas compared to last Christmas, even. Because last Christmas, we thought it was just going to be a week. We thought it was just a flu. How wrong was that? So if we're thinking the same mindset right now, we're in for a shock when earnings come out. Because I don't think this is true. I think the stock market is being propped up by the Fed just pumping in like tons of injection money, and then as we start talking about the new administration, what that could bring, who knows? The Fed has endless power to print. We saw what Hank Paulson did in 2008, and to think that Jerome Powell can't do something to the same extent, or he has done something to the same extent, or if not worse, it's just Jay Powell, he's they're doing some work there at the Federal Reserve, that's for sure. So central bank policy, the Federal Reserve has made it clear that they're going to keep interest low while keeping money printing high, as long as it's necessary to stimulate the U.S. economy. So as long as it's necessary, right? As long as we keep needing that money. I understand people are suffering. I'm not saying anything about like people shouldn't have money or should have money. But I don't know. Feels like we're going down a very, very dangerous road. But, at the same time, like, what do? Do we just go into a Great Depression? I have no idea. I'm not an economics major or anything. Like, I have no idea. This is obviously going to contribute to the dollar going down as more cash injections being pumped into the system. That just makes sense, as we go. I think that there's more to come from the Federal Reserve. I would like to see businesses be a little bit more cautious about the loans that they take, because at the end of the day, when these businesses, and I say when, because it's inevitability that a majority of these businesses do go bankrupt, when they do, who foots the bill? It's the U.S. taxpayer and anyone who trades on the U.S. dollar. And which is why you see right now global central banks are not wanting to use the dollar as their backing currency anymore, because they don't want to be part of that. Like, if you're reliant on someone else, to keep their house in order, and then you walk in and you see it's a literal crack den. Oh, are you gonna hire that person? Probably not. So obviously the central banks don't want to back their currencies by the U.S. dollar, something as unstable as the U.S. dollar. And that's a crazy statement to say in 2020. To think that I would have ever said that in my life is crazy. I never thought that I would. But a point here on the printing money, so keeping money printed. We saw in Venezuela, and you can say that, oh, Venezuela was a different thing. Venezuela, the oil prices were super low, so they just kind of made up for that difference by increasing inflation. Yeah, but is that not exactly what happened back when COVID first hit? So if we think back to COVID, because we have this fun thing that COVID just distracted us from so many different big events, right? The repo market closing in 2019 or crashing in 2019 September. So just after that, we started getting the vibe about coronavirus. But something else happened, right? And I'm sure you guys remember that small period of time that gas prices were just super low. If you drove a car, you understand exactly what I'm saying. Your gas was super cheap for weeks. And this is just surprising. Oh, maybe it's just because not enough people are driving on the road. No, it's because Saudi Arabia and Russia were literally in a pissing contest to see who could flood the market with more oil. I'm not even kidding. That's actually what happened. They had an argument in some sort of UN meeting, and they went off and just whose is bigger kind of thing. So Canada and the United States and everyone was trying to get everyone to cool their jets back down because you are literally tanking the economy. And that is the reality. The US dollar is so backed by gold. It is so reliant or gold. It's so reliant on oil. So reliant on oil. And we've seen it before in Venezuela that when something is that reliant on oil, it can only mean bad things, especially moving into a Biden administration being more environmentally conscious, right? Less, fossil fuel emissions. What's that going to do? It hurts the oil industry, right? The majority of high-paying jobs, like the high-paying jobs that people can just go into for physical labor, is oil work, right? You can't get the same pay doing construction work. You can't get the same pay working in McDonald's or something. You just can't, right? That's a huge industry that is just going to go away over the next 10 to 15 years. And I know that hurts to say, and I know that hurts to hear, but the reality is there. We aren't going to use oil much longer. It's just, that's just where we're going as a world. You can complain about it all you want, but at the end of the day, it is what it is, and when you're reliant on oil to the point where you're so reliant that Saudi Arabia and Russia can outproduce you and just crash your dollar, right? Crash your entire value. What's stopping them from doing that in the middle of a crisis or in the middle of a Cold War or something, right? Absolutely nothing. There's really nothing other than just retaliation that would stop them. The reality is that the U.S. dollar is susceptible to foreign influences and oil production, and that's the reality. I wouldn't say that's the only reality. I'd say that the U.S. dollar is heading for a very, very significant down spike, but it is what it is. So the next point and the last point, and this is why CNN isn't always the greatest. So they say tariffs contribute to a strong dollar in recent years, which I know from my experience, anytime a tariff was put on Canada, retaliatory tariffs were put on, and it is what it is. We just make up what you guys put tariffs on us by putting tariffs on you. That's how it's gonna work. The only person that hurts in a tariff is usually the end consumer. I can't see that the U.S. dollar was strengthened in any way by a tariff. I don't think that. Yeah, but hey, if they believe that, according to Mark Haffel here, and I'm sure he's a very intelligent person, but I don't think tariffs are the reason why we're gonna the lack of tariffs are the reasons why we're gonna see a U.S. dollar go down. I just that doesn't make sense. Anyway, that's it from me, guys. You've learned a couple of things in this video. One, Bittrex is now trading commodity tokenized stocks. Cool. Yeah. 2, the US dollar is in grave danger. And 3, I only have 2 hoodies. All right, guys, give me a subscribe and like and all that fun stuff, and I'll see you guys next time.